Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you with my pearl-handled pistol cufflinks, courtesy of my good friend Michael Rivers and son, and all-around content genius. Today's episode is brought to you by eForms.com. What did I say? I said eForms.com. eForms.com is a great resource, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They've got all kinds of forms. You go to eForms.com if you need a power of attorney, a loan agreement, lease agreement, or any other kind of legal form, so you don't have to pay somebody like me to do something you can do for almost nothing. Today we're reacting to the news that the chief financial officer from Bed Bath & Beyond jumped out of a New York skyscraper to his death. The guy's name was Amal. He was 52 years old. He was a chief financial officer for Bed Bath & Beyond. He jumped from the 18th floor balcony of his high-rise apartment in the Tribeca neighborhood. Now, he is under scrutiny along with another guy from GameStop. They were involved in a pump and dump scheme where they shorted stock and they tried to make some money off it. Now, let's just talk about a couple things. You know, to be honest with you, I always like a good homicide. This is not a homicide. This is a suicide, so it's very sad. Financial crimes, even though they don't seem quite as sexy as some of the stuff that we talk about on this channel, it nonetheless is still very serious, and the people who get involved in these things wind up impacting them, probably harder than others. So let's just talk about a couple of different terms. First of all, short selling a stock. Short selling involves the borrowing of a security whose price you think is going to fall from your brokerage and then selling it in the open market. Your plan is then to buy the same stock back later, hopefully for a lower price, right? So you're kind of betting that the stock is going to go down. If the stock goes up, you still owe the money and you still have to pay it, but now you've lost that gap. You're hoping that the stock, so if you're shorting your own company stock, that's a problem. And the other thing is, the other term that we're going to talk about is a pump and dump scheme. Pump and dump is a manipulative scheme that attempts to boost the price of a stock or security through fake recommendations. So, in other words, people go around, and I've had one of these cases actually. So people go around and they have friends or they create this fake buzz around a stock, and then the stock goes up, and then so there's nothing behind the bullshit that you're saying. And so you get all this buzz out there, and once the stock goes up, then you dump whatever you have, and then you don't give a shit about what happens later. And who gets stung? Just your average Joe investor. He sees it going up and thinks it's a legitimate stock run when really it's not. The perpetrators of a pump and dump scheme already have an established position in the company's stock and will sell their position after the hype that has led to the higher share price. This practice, a pump and dump, is an illegal practice on securities law and can lead to heavy fines, and it can lead to prison time. And it's a federal kind of thing, and that's usually means it's involved in it's the amount that drives the sentence. So if it's millions of dollars, that's what drives the sentence. So you guys, I guarantee you have all been to Bed Bath & Beyond. They've got stores all over the place. And Bed Bath & Beyond, well, first of all, Amal, who is their chief financial officer, was found unconscious and unresponsive. I love the way I'm reading from a story from CNN here. So let me just read you this. This is kind of hilarious the way they have the story kind of written. NYPD said in a statement Sunday that Amal, 52, was found unconscious and unresponsive outside his 57-story skyscraper in the New York neighborhood of Tribeca at 12:30 p.m. So he jumped out of an 18th-floor window or balcony right at lunchtime in fucking Manhattan, downtown in the Tribeca area. Police said that the man appeared to suffer from injuries indicative of a fall from an elevated position. You think? In other words, his brains were splattered all over the place. EMS responded and pronounced the man dead at the scene. Law enforcement sources told CNN that Amal's wife witnessed the jump. The sources said with no suicide note was found and no criminality is expected in his death. And let me just, When something like this happens, it is tragic, and it's kind of selfish when you think about it, because the person's trying to end their pain, but he really doesn't end their pain, because it just goes on his wife and children, and that's where the pain goes. And I can tell you that from personal experience. So CNN reported that Bed Bath & Beyond is in deep turmoil. The company is trying to rescue itself and staying out of bankruptcy by shrinking. The chain said that on Wednesday it will lay off approximately 20% of its employees. The company has said it secured more than $500 million in financing to shore up its ailing financial. If they have to borrow $500 million to shore things up, I don't know that that's really going to help them. But I don't know jack about financials, so don't quote me. I just know how to save money. Now, Amal he's the CFO. He was named in a class action lawsuit accusing him, Ryan Cohen, and other large shareholders of engaging in a pump and dump scheme to artificially inflate the price of the company's stock. The lawsuit was filed August 23rd in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. The lawsuit claims that Amal and others made misleading statements and omissions when communicating to investors regarding Bed Bath & Beyond's strategic plans and financial condition, and delayed disclosures about holding and selling their own shares. My guess is that he probably got a call from his lawyer saying that the U.S. attorney might be involved and that there's a criminal investigation going on too. When you get that news that you're under an indictment and you've got all these balls up in the air, you've got a Manhattan apartment, you've got your country club membership, you've got this, you've got that. I guarantee you these guys are all living the high life, right? But if you're engaged in a scheme like this, you're going to go to prison if they're watching, and it sounds like they were in this case. And you can't invest in your own company and then get engaged in a scheme like this. It's got to be so open and above board to avoid any kind of scrutiny. So he saw the writing on the wall. He saw the fact that he's probably going to go to prison, and he took the easy way out. Although I think I would probably, if I was going to kill myself, I wouldn't have done it that way. I mean, jumping out of an 18, you can't change your mind halfway down, so I give you that one. But it is what it is. You used to see this like when we had the crash of 1929, the Great Depression. There was, people were jumping out of windows all the time. Because either whether they were selling short or whether they were just lost their shirt because all the value in their stock had just gone out from under. And I have my own stock account, and it goes up and down, up and down. But once you figure out that you've got all this money tied up and it's all bullshit, and then you sold short, and then it's not working for you, and then your life is just kind of thinking it's over. It's never over. It's never over. You don't ever have a problem that's too big for you guys to deal with. So, like I've told you before on this channel, I've told you about my wife who passed away when my son was 6 years old from suicide, thinking she just didn't have any other way to deal with it. And that's just not the case. You got to, if you're thinking like this, there's always something better that can come along. So there's always more tomorrows to be had. So this is not the answer. But the story here doesn't even say he's under a criminal indictment, but it's probably on its way. So this is just a quick update on a story that just does not involve murders or rap, but it does involve a tragedy, and tragedy to a family. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and let us know what you want to see. I really want to know what you want to see. If there's something you want me to react to, hook up on Patreon. We're doing some good work there, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please accept my call.